Welcome to Busted Speakers. This is Alex,
And I'm Lee.
and today we're reviewing the debut self-titled album from Harry Styles, who is a teen pop, and now pop rock musician from the UK, originally auditioning on the X Factor in 2010 as a solo artist, and then got really manufactured into the boy band One Direction. But One Direction, I don't know what you think of them, but I think they're not the worst band ever, because I've listened to one album by them, Four. I had to buy it because it was in a charity shop deal with a Devin Townsend album, and I had to buy two CDs. I couldn't. I think they had some. I think they had some clearance fin where they didn't allow you to take one, so I
Okay.
took that, and it wasn't too bad. The album had some decent pop rock stylings and a few decent songs like "Steal My Girl" and "No Control." So I knew they had capabilities to make decent music, but I think Harry, he really outdid himself here. I think this is a very, very good album, all things considered, in general.
Yeah, I've listened to his friend Cyan. He put out a record back in 2016, I believe, and I think that this,
Yes,
although
yes.
there are completely different styles, Cyan's record was more pop, R&B influenced, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But compared to that one, I think this album has a lot more replayability. And that is not just because I like rock music more than pop music at times. It's simply because the songs have, I think they have more depth. I think the instrumental arrangement and at least some of the songs here were very interestingly and also masterfully composed, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So
He's
he
done well here. And going back to that Zayn album quickly, yeah, Mind of Mine. That also made me think maybe more of the members had talents because Zayn left the band a year before the others. I don't know, like a Robbie Williams or
Yeah, sure.
Ginger Spice type thing. Just comparing it to other teen pop girl boy bands where other members left.
Mm.
Um, he did well with our contemporary R&B soul, basically about as good as the sort of Drakes of the day, but still a bit
You
generic.
re-
But I
you
think Harry Styles,
you
in the
really
same way, he takes the pop rock style and makes it his own in the day and age of today. So I think he's done well here.
Yeah, he collaborated with a lot of famous producers and writers, actually. Jeff Basker is famous for collaborating or producing some of the records for Kanye West and Jay-Z. So he was the
Yeah,
executive producer of this record. And he is also very talented from what I've heard. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and I think he provided some of the instruments on this record for Harry. He also worked with Alex Salibian, Tyler Johnson. I didn't find that much out about those guys, but Kid Harpoon is also another producer, or at least a writer here, who is also a solo artist himself. He's not too big, but Jeff Basker is definitely worth mentioning. But yeah, what of the songs did made the most of an output on you, Alex? I'm really interested to hear that.
well, clearly, Sign of the Times is the big song that alerted everyone that Harry would have a lot of to say in his solo career. I was thinking this is the closest to another November Rain by Guns N' Roses or Purple Rain by Prince that we'll get in the 2010s, just because it's an epic, sprawling ballad like those songs, and it's quite long as well. Like those songs are both 7-9 minutes. I know this is only under 6, but it's quite long, especially when you consider the average length of a pop song is about 3 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah,
So yeah, and
and
well, it's quite
can I go on?
yeah.
Yeah. One of the songs that Sign of the Times remind me of was November Rain is actually a pretty good example, very good resemblance. But another ballad
Yeah,
is what is it called again? David Bowie with Space Oddity.
Life on Mars.
Yeah, or Life on
Life on
Mars.
Mars, maybe.
Both are
Yeah,
very
the
epic and
piano reminded me of that.
Yeah, both are very epic. They have this lofty mood to them. They sound a bit anthemic almost. Um, and yeah, I think that the narrative of the song is quite interesting as well. I don't know if you read anything about that, but Harry did an interview with Rolling Stone, and he revealed that the song is written about, or it's written from the perspective of a mother who is giving birth to a child, and the mother is
All
told
right.
that the child is fine, but she is not going to make it. So the mother has 5 minutes to tell the child, "Go forth and conquer." And that was a very specific narrative, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint in that moment when I read that. I couldn't pinpoint it to any specific phrase in the song, but it's at least very interesting. Um,
That is very interesting.
yeah.
Just that whole perspective, and the fact the song is about 5 minutes as well.
Mm.
And just, well, some line, right, I didn't know that, but some lines seem quite weird now. Like the first line, "Just stop your crying, it's the sign of the times." I don't, I mean, sign of the times of dying in childbirth, that isn't really as big of a thing
Yeah,
today. I
it
know
doesn't
there
fit.
was a time in history
It doesn't fit together.
where anesthetic, yeah, it doesn't fit together. Anesthetic does save most mothers in childbirth, I'd say, but who knows when the song is set. It does make this a lot more interesting, and
Yeah, definitely.
we've got to
I think
get
that
away.
it,
We've got to get away is like the big uh, smashing hook part. I'm not sure where that fits in that narrative, but yeah, that is a very interesting way of writing a song in that way.
mm, um, yeah, the most impressive part outside of the lyrics, I think the lyrics are pretty good. They're a bit vague, and I didn't exactly understand the link between the story that he told, as I told you, and the lyrics, the phrases.
Yeah,
But I think it's impressive when we think about the instrumental arrangement. There's piano, electric guitars, violins. There's even a lap steel, I think, in one part of the song.
mm,
And there's also a choir at the back of the mix, and also very
yeah,
at the very end of the song in the chorus. And this makes the song really epic. It makes it so lofty and really powerful. Um, I really love the
hmm,
part at the end where Harry repeats the phrase "We gotta get away," as you mentioned. It seems, I don't know, all the instruments, all the whole arrangement and his voice. There's so much focused kinetic energy here that's kind of interplaying, and I think that if they made this song a little bit differently, it could have come off as a bit too forced. But it actually doesn't feel like this. It feels very organic. So
yeah. I'm glad that the song actually started off so slowly. It's quite a big. If you're playing this on repeat, it actually like is completely different mood from the bombastic climatic ending. And I did hear a few people saying it takes a while to get into the good part of the song, but the build up is amazing, and it makes me look forward to it every time. Because
mm,
some
mm.
songs, and another song I think is a bit thematically similar, is "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance. Slightly, that's
Yeah, yeah.
it starts off quite slowly as well, but then that goes right into bombastic quite early on, and I think it's a bit too soon. But here, I think it's spaced out perfectly, and I'd say this is one of the best songs of the year so far. And I never thought I'd say that coming from a One Direction member, but that's what I think anyway.
Wow, that is a bit of a surprise to
Well,
me.
yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
don't know. It just appeals to me so much.
yeah. I think it will definitely be one of the most memorable songs in my ears as well. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe the last half of the year will be fantastic when it comes to music. In that case, it might just
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
into the rest of the songs. But yeah. Anyways, we talked like 10 minutes about this one song. Maybe we should get moving on to another one. What is another one that you like?
I really like Ever Since New York. I'd say that's the second best. Very nice playing, and the atmosphere's to die for. And
Mm. Why
it
do we?
doesn't need to have a whirlwind of piano to hide behind. It's just really pretty. It sounds like a Fleetwood Mac song or something. It's very very chilled, and I really enjoyed that one.
Mm. But why do we love the exact same songs? I don't know, man.
Although the taste is just so linked together.
Yeah, I think I think actually most of the slower or the calmer songs on this album were songs that appealed to me for some reason. I feel like whenever he tried to make more of a classic rock song, or whenever he tried to make more of a hard rock song, where he went more over from soft to hard, he tried to take on this persona as a hard rocker, and it felt like he just put the outfit on and then he took it off. It was not something that he added anything to. He just, yeah, he played his part and then it was over, kind of. I feel that with Only Angel is a great example. Um,
Yeah.
and another one is Kiwi. But I really love Ever Since New York. It has this really mesmerizing guitar melody, very deep guitar melody, if that is a way to put it. And what immediately stood out on the song were the mood and also the drums. The mood is chill, it's positive, it sounds very curious. I get curious to listen more to the song. There's a transition between the verse and the chorus, where the vocals are quite contrasting in a way. The vocals become even more powerful and interesting during the chorus, which I really enjoyed. And then there's just this adventurous and welcoming feel of the tom drums. Instead of having more of a typical beat on this track, they simply used they used an interplay of cymbals, tom drums, and kick drum, and that was so simplistic, but it also worked so fine because it's such a chill song. It just made it more chill and more memorable and soothing to listen to in a way.
Yeah. And although you were saying the slower songs are the ones that appeal to you, there's one slow song on here that I think is maybe my least favourite, and that's the last
Yeah.
song from the dining table. I don't know.
I didn't like that one either.
Right. Unlike Sweet Creature, which is another slower song, which I did like, this feels too loose and it feels a bit too, like, precious and minimal. And it's really weird. Like, first of all, I was a bit, intrigued by this. It sounded way too minimal for it, this album, especially after the hard rock section. And Key Woman actually is quite a bouncy track, and that's the one before this. But it's too slow for me. I don't know. It's like there's no forward momentum. It's like down tuned or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels depressive. It feels like inverted from a positive melody. It just isn't a positive feeling to end the album on. I feel like it's not bad. It's still above most of what I'd come to expect from him from his One Direction days, which I've said earlier are still not truly terrible. But yeah, I don't know. That one didn't work for me so much.
Yeah, what I think about From the Dining Table is basically just the same as you again. I feel like we have the same
Yeah.
opinions about many of these songs, but yeah, anyways. I think also this was a bit worn out. This is another love song, or it's a song about heartache, and it definitely has
Yeah.
this mood that you pointed out, which it goes from something positive to something negative, and it has this. It strives between those moods, and it feels kind of awkward in a way. It's very calm. It resembles other songs like "Sweet Creature," as you mentioned, and "Two Ghosts." Um,
Oh yeah.
the song is also very stripped down. Initially, during the first half, ideally the song is very stripped down because we only hear the acoustic guitar, and then it's coupled with Harry's vocals. And yeah, I don't know. It just felt very. He could have possibly added a bit more epic, revolving sound at the end. Another epic revolving song
Yeah.
at the end, because this one just, yeah, you listen to it and it's like, what is this it really? what is this? How the album is gonna end? Because the album is quite. Many of the songs are surrounded with, or they're about the topics of love. Maybe he could have ended with a similar song like Sign of the Times, just maybe not as epic, but it would add a nice ending to the album. You know, it would end the album on a high note, and actually make you want to listen to the whole album. This 10th track, it's just not
Yeah.
something that takes the album for a full spin in my head. You know.
Well, when you look at the 10 songs, Sign of the Times is the only one, or one of the only ones that really has an epic ending that would have ended the album exceptionally well. Most of them
True,
just end
but then
quite
again,
normally.
I think it's a good track to open
Yeah,
with,
you need
or
the hit early on. Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
it
you
kind of
do need the hit
fuels
earlier
the
on.
album into, or it fuels you, and you want to listen more to the album in a way.
That is true.
What do you think about the previous track, number 9, Woman?
Well, as I said earlier, that's pretty good. It's like bouncy piano, and the chorus drove me over, and I do like it in essence, but there's this like weird modulated effect that's a bit annoying. Plus, there's some like more persona that he's taken on with the lyrics that doesn't feel that real to me. I'm sure it's intentional. Yes, like hair metal bands do it worse, but this is Harry we're talking about. And
Yeah, yeah, because
I
this
think
was
the
actually
full on yeah.
this song. It was quite different from all the other songs on the album because it mixes up many new influences, and there's a lot of novel soundscapes here compared to many of the other more hard rock turned songs. It has a sense of, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you agree with this, but this is just what came off the top of my mind when I listened to it. Is it has these blues moments, and it also has some funk in there. It's even a bit psychedelic if you listen to the mesmeric vocal and guitar effects. There are some effects used here that sound, they sound a bit eerie, a bit spaced out, and it gives this psychedelic dimension to the song that, yeah, it makes it more enticing and versatile to listen to. So I actually thought Woman was one of the better, harder songs off of the album. But then again, I don't know. You didn't like it, or?
I thought it was okay. It's just not one of my favourites. I think anything after Ever Since New York would have to be extremely good to be as good as that. But going back to the harder songs, now Only Angel is a
Yeah.
bit funny in how it starts off with like a soothing vocal for about 50 seconds and then goes slap bam into the middle of like this very cheesy hard rock riff. Like I had no idea what genre this was going to be for a little while.
What song are you
And
talking
even
about
though
now? I didn't get it.
Only Angel,
Oh yeah, yeah. That is the song
and
where he basically sings about this girl who is kind of naughty, and it's a girl that he doesn't want to take home to his mother because she wears this really short skirt, and he's kind of having this almost like a wet dream. It's probably a real story though, but yeah, he talks about this girl and how he's really falling in love with her, and he really wants her because she's so naughty and sexy, I guess. But then he sees her as this angel, I guess. He sees the good in her, although she's kind of, what do you call it? What's the right word? Consumptuous? I don't know.
yeah. And although you could say the lyrics aren't the most appealing, you could say that about almost any song in this genre from the 80s, and it's pretty much quite similar lyrics. It's just we have a different expectation level because it's the cute idol Harry Styles. But as long as you like think he's like playing it up and don't mind the lyrics, I don't mind these songs lyrically. It also helps in the other hard rock song after it, Kiwi, which has the odd line, having your baby, none of your business. It's quite odd, but as long as you remember he's meant to evoke a sleazy hard rocker, you can kind of jive with it, even though it's quite odd. I don't know. I'd prefer to talk about Sweet Creature now.
Yeah, sure.
Do you like that song?
Sweet Creature. I'm just gonna look through my notes here. Yeah, that was one of the. I marked it off with my green pen, and if I marked it off with my green pen, it means that I like it. So yeah, it's not one of the songs that I like the most, but it's one of the calmer tracks on the album, and for some reason they just got to me. It's a bit similar to Two Ghosts in that way, and yeah, another song about love. Wow. I mean, I don't have anything against the love songs here. Some of the lyrics are a bit superficial and a bit rip-off, but then again, what can you expect from love songs? But I think that Harry Styles pulls it off very well, because he is not obvious in his way of picking the words and the phrases. He is not he's not at the very end of the scale when it comes to being superficial. He's actually I think he's actually trying to tell love stories about himself and what he is actually experiencing, you know. So and this song seems to tell the story about a relationship that he is currently in, or at least during the time when he was making this song. And yeah, he's basically talking about the troubles and the hardships that he experiences.
Yeah, people were criticizing this on its initial release, because I think it was a second single, or at least a promo before the album came out.
Yeah.
That the acoustic guitar chords were too similar to Blackbird by the Beatles. But I don't think that's actually a fair criticism, given how many chords and riffs have been embellished by other bands that Harry can't get a pass. I mean, these acoustic guitar chords, there aren't an unlimited amount of them. They'll sound similar. They'll be similar chord pattern. I just think this is a very nice folks pop song, and it does feel really genuine. I do agree with you that it's probably from a relationship he's on when he was writing it, and I just think it's very favourable, and I like that one. And yeah, I do think this whole album is about true relationships he had. I know Carolina is about a girl he met called Carolina, and I don't know, I really like that, because there's a lot of albums that just have obviously made up subject matter, but an album here about real experiences, even if they are just used as a groundwork to build a song upon, and maybe the whole actual real element isn't in the lyrics as much, I still really like that. And yeah, I have to say, on the whole, I can't find too many faults with this album. The production's pretty much great on every song. His singing is pretty good, and the playing, like you said, from the Jeff Basker guy, you said contributed some.
Producer,
yeah, I really like it. Yeah, I mean, this is way better than I thought it could be.
Yeah, I was actually very positively surprised as well about this. I can't say that this is an album that I will go back to that many times, but it's certainly an album where I will listen to some of the tracks. For example, Sweet Creature and Woman, Meet Me in the Hallway was also a good one. Sign of the Times, of course. Yeah. There were actually quite a bunch of positive songs here that I will... Yeah, I'll probably go back to them maybe a bit here and there and in some occasions. But then again, I feel like... what could have made this album even better would be if he could actually take this rock outfit and make it more of his own. If he could actually add some more authenticity to it. If he could experiment a little bit more with it. I can see it a bit here and there. For example, in Woman, he does a little bit of experimentation, and maybe he will go that way with his future album. Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. Only time will tell.
Yeah, but anyways, what would you rate it, Alex?
I'm gonna give it a 7 because, yeah, like you were saying, it's not the most original ever, and From the Dining Table is only an okay song, and it wasn't. And yeah, yeah. But on the whole, it was really enjoyable, and I just liked pretty much the first 7 songs, or 8 songs actually. Woman was pretty good, and From the Dining Table is not terrible. So on the whole, I was pretty happy with this, and I think it's one of the best pop rock releases of the year that I've heard.
Yep, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, and yeah, I would probably say this is one of the better pop rock albums. Not that I've listened that much to borderline pop and rock records recently,
That's true.
but this was
Yeah, there aren't
actually
that many.
not really not that much. But yeah, I would suggest this to anyone really who's into
Yeah,
popular
yeah.
music, rock music, and yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Tell us what you think of the album in the comments below. Give us some requests. We'll try and do them if we have time, or I'll try to myself, which is a thing we might be trying out. And yeah, leave it, subscribe if you enjoyed this, and check us out on social media. Bye, guys.
Bye.